What is instant gratification? It's wanting something here and now, instantly, exerting the least amount of effort and getting instant results. In his piece, Instant Gratification, Peter Diamandis writes about how technology, specifically the internet, feeds instant gratification. The internet serves as a great resource. It's a machine that generates answers to all of the world's questions. At least that's how we look at it. But how much do we rely on the internet? And has it become a crutch? There are numerous studies suggesting that the internet has dumbed us down and we are no longer critical thinkers. Many of you have been curious about the quizzes we asked you to take, and this is all part of our small-scale experiment we conducted. We weren't sure how we felt about the internet as a teaching and learning tool for our students. We were confident that it was a great resource, but questioned if it was beneficial for our students who are still trying to learn things and needing to understand the process as well as develop their critical thinking skills. Reflect back on the quizzes we asked you to take. The instructions of the first quiz said you could use anything as if it were an open book test. Many of you, those of you who read the directions, quickly realized that you could use the internet to look up every answer. Everyone should have received a perfect score. Most did. But of course, like any experiment, there were some outliers that skewed the data. We had a total of 40 participants for Quiz 1. We omitted 6 individuals because they failed to write the start time, the finish time, or both. The average time to complete Quiz 1 for 34 participants was 9 minutes and 42 seconds, with the quickest time being 2 minutes and the longest time being 27 minutes. The average number correct was 15.4 questions out of 20. There were only 9 perfect scores, and there were 2 participants who scored a 2 out of 20. We looked at the data and found many correlations with time and performance. We then recreated the same quiz on Sporkle and unfortunately didn't get too many results. We only had about 15 people take the quiz, which means some of you didn't take the quiz. We intentionally gave you 3 minutes so that you wouldn't be looking up the information while taking the quiz. This was our effort to test how much information you retained from the previous activity. There were minor issues with this portion of the experiment, like the number of participants, but also because many people didn't read through the directions before understanding how the game operated. But the data collected proved what we were hoping it would. We conducted this very informal experiment to see what our need for instant gratification, or rather an instant need for information, yields. We hypothesized that retention would be low and that there would be little transfer of knowledge and that the knowledge transfer might be fragmented. We feel as though our hypothesis was spot on. This confirmation made us think about what the internet and instant gratification of information does for our students and learning. Sure, we live in a culture of ask and you shall receive, as Diamandis puts it, but getting things without working for it can be detrimental to the learning process. Diamandis gave an example of calculating the total gold ever mined on Earth and tweeted his findings and had people check his answers. I instantly questioned the credibility of the people responding to him, and I painted the scenario in my head. I pictured him drafting a quick, rough calculation and tweeting it out without checking his own work because it was tedious. I can see students doing just that. What does this compromise? It compromises critical thinking and practice. If mastery is what we are seeking, we need to stick it out, toil with it, get frustrated, ponder about possible solutions, try things in multiple ways, and build our knowledge and understanding. Diamandis also asked, how many times do you ponder about something and then let it drop? How many times have you felt drained and frustrated that it was easier to tweet your PLN than to give it its full due justice? Some of us have been struggling with the online portion and feeling as though there are a million things going on at once. Post this, tweet that, upload this, pin that, blog this, cast that, and so on. It's easier to put a rough idea out to our PLNs and have them help develop it, right? Don't get me wrong, PLNs are great and I'm all about collaboration, but I do want to illustrate how instant gratification can hurt us. Do we know how and where to find information, and can we do it on our own? Of course. And the important thing is to know that there are times for developing things on our own and times for reaching out to our PLNs. Diamandis refers to the internet as a social verse, and while it can be extremely supportive and helpful, it can at times keep us from accomplishing everything we can on our own. Think about what instant gratification craves need indulging in your life. Is there anything you are compromising to get your fix? What does it teach our students? Education and learning is a process, and students need to understand it takes work to make sense of things. Knowing our students are products of this instant gratification, need to know right now culture, what can we do to teach our students to be patient and resourceful with the learning process and see what they can accomplish on their own? The takeaway from Diamandis is this: technology and our PLNs should not be a crutch, and we need to be careful to not let it become one. To say that there is no need to remember things because everything is online, or to feed into this, I'm going to look it up right now without even trying to remember it, is what we are cautioning against. Technology is great, but let's not belittle the capacity of our minds.